I think Lisa kind of let her off the hook too easily, or at least that's how it looked at the reunion. I understand it wasn't Julia, but I'm just surprised that Andy didn't hold it against Julia more. So I don't know where Julia stands. I think that the fans don't like her, so I think we can assume she wouldn't be back, but the fans do like Guerdy, and the fans, largely the comments I saw were them being like, wow, this is a weird edit. But on a reality show, and I like Guerdy, if you're not friends with any of the women and you're refusing to... The reunion is the time, no matter what transpires, and we have seen some wild stuff. You have to at least agree to accept the apology and see where it goes from there. Even the most contentious situations, we have seen that. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, Amanda?
Hi.
Hello, cocktailers.
Hi, everybody.
I have breaking news.
Okay, I'm dying because I've been like heads down on something else for most of the day. So you guys, I'm getting this when you are. What's the news?
Today is the 9th. I actually had heard the reunion was filming the 10th, so we were off by a day. But that's neither here nor there, because the real scoop is, and I mean, the last reunion scoop we had came true, the Miami. So they're filming right now as we speak. Katie's husband, Matt, Slade, and Ryan, Jen's fiance, were all signed up to come out at the reunion today, but Slade and Ryan backed out this morning. Only Matt is showing at the reunion. Oh, and you know that Katie's going to be like, well, if this is all on the up and up and you don't care about our receipts, then where are Slade and Ryan?
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was thinking, my head went a different way when you said that, because there's been some rumors that maybe Jen and Ryan have not been doing as well lately. So I was wondering if it had to do with at least that for him. And then
that could be.
Slade is probably,
he doesn't
want to go up against Tamara.
Okay, so I think that, and also Matt has receipts on Slade. So Slade could be scared to face the music as far as the women having receipts on him. Whereas Ryan, because Ryan and Jen are like kind of side players in the whole Katie Gretchen drama. And I don't think that Ryan reached out to Matt and tried to muzzle Jen, or like, I don't think that it's that. So it could be that they're not doing as well. There's also been, his name has been back being brought up. We actually had a post on it in Cocktail Party as far as his involvement with that whole scandal that was brought up last season. So if stuff is bubbling up there, that could be a reason.
Yeah.
Because let's not forget, Emily's a lawyer. So like, she knows what she can and can't say if she wanted to go there. I think Tamara would encourage her to. And we know that Emily is kind of hanging on by a thread and needs a distraction from herself and her terrible storyline. So yes, it could be Ryan and Jen's relationship, or it could be Ryan running from...
I think your theory sounds a little bit more realistic, because, well, and I hope for Jen that things are okay and that Ryan is truly innocent of all of that stuff, because I have really come to like Jen a lot and I only want to see good things for her.
Same. But we'll get more into the OC, because we do have more things to discuss, but that was not top of our list. It just became top of the list because of the breaking news.
Crazy. Also kind of breaking news, the Southern Charm trailer just came out today.
We got a heads up last night, and I posted that it would be today. It looks like it's going to be a great season. We have single Craig. I don't care. You can't make me not think he's just beautiful. That face. It looks like there's a couple of women interested.
Especially that hot tub scene. I was like, gosh, he looks really good.
Well, he's just so cute. Yeah. And like, there's all different types of cute, but something about his face to me is just like so handsome. Sally and new cast member and her friend Charlie. Side note, a cocktailer is currently researching for me, but she believes that Charlie used to be one of Craig's ex Naomi's models for her website clothing line.
That would make sense, because I read she's also like a pageant, or was a pageant person.
Yeah, and it made it like her bio on the website makes it seem like she just landed in Charleston, but we all know that they could just be playing with that. Or maybe she lived in Charleston for a bit and then went back, whatever. But yeah, so I mean, he just can't seem to get away from Naomi. All roads lead back. Oh, by the way, speaking of Naomi and Craig,
Yeah.
he was in France and he posted from her house. So apparently they're on good terms. And like he mentioned he was going there and she was like, well, why would you get a hotel if my house is there? And we know she's very happily in a serious relationship with Brooke Nader's ex, whose name escapes me. So it's not like a romantic thing, but they're on good terms. And yeah, he posted to his stories like, broke into my ex-girlfriend's house.
That's good. I mean, we like to see that. We like to see that they're good and friendly and yeah.
And we have Craig and Paige, do you hear me? Craig and Austin fighting. In one scene, Craig says, Austin hates me. I mean, these two are each other's true loves.
And they're in multiple businesses together. I think they're still doing the podcast, right?
No, the podcast they haven't done.
Oh, it's done?
Well,
okay.
It's still on hiatus for over a year.
Oh, okay. I thought it was coming back.
You know what? We know. Heather McDonald always says it. Everybody has a podcast, but like everybody doesn't last with a podcast. It's very hard, first of all, schedule-wise. Like it's hard. And then content, like two guys aren't girls. Like you and I could take one piece of tea and just sit here and dissect it for an hour.
Right.
Boys are like kind of like, all right, so this is going on. Okay, this is going on. They're more like fact-based. And they are more like, I don't want to call them girly. That's not what I mean. But they're boys who can get in with the gossip. And like even still with that, they're just,
Yeah. Interesting. Well, and then Craig, so Vanita is still beefing with Craig. I'm hoping we get to hear a little bit more about what it is that really bothers her about him, because we know that she took Paige's side in the breakup.
And she's also best friends with Ciara. So maybe Craig I don't know if they're best friends, but
they're close.
When Vanita's in New York, they post together. I believe Vanita stays at her apartment and like vice versa with Ciara. So they're very friendly. So I'm sure that there was a situation where when Craig and Paige broke up, maybe he badmouthed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Said too much about, because Ciara obviously took Paige's side, as any girl would do.
Right.
I've liked a lot of my friends' boyfriends over the years. And when they split, I stayed with my friend and like, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
That is the way of the woman. That's what we do. Yeah, I agree. And then we have Shep. It seems like he's kind of fighting with Austin, but maybe kind of multiple people.
But then Austin also looks like he's yelling at that new guy.
Yeah.
Who's very cute, by the way. Apparently, he's Shep's friend. He's a lawyer. And it says he was a classmate. His name is, Whitner.
I know. I saw that.
Wait, Whitner Slyball. So maybe that's like, I don't know. That's an odd name. It reminds me of Whitney.
Yeah. It sounds Norwegian or Swedish or something. And then we have Molly trying out a frozen little white mouse to feed her I love that she's going with this quirky. I mean, it sounds like she isn't actually a quirky person, but I love that she's kind of letting her freak flag fly on the show because I really enjoy that.
Yes, 100%. I am so seated. It looks really good. It seems to me like when Craig says to Austin, you're just jealous that I'm single, where we've only seen a clip, but it does look like Austin is just screaming at everybody. And we do know that he ended up breaking up with Audrey. So Audrey.
Yeah.
And I kind of hate it for her because there was a scene where, and again, this is editing, but it looks like he's like heavily flirting with Sally. Who's heavily flirting back? Listen, I get that whomever, because you remember Taylor and Gustavo, whatever his name was, Gaston, but he goes by Gaston. Okay, so the story was that Gaston had a girlfriend. We don't know who she is, but Sally knew he had a girlfriend and gave him a BJ outside a bar. Now, I'm just saying, I get you may not be friends with the girlfriend. That's not girl's girl to me. I don't know. I'm not that into that. So like,
what's Sally on these streets in Charleston? Because that was a very similar storyline to Southern Hospitality.
But also, I love the fact that the girls have crushes on Craig, but when it doesn't pan out, they default to Austin. Like, we heard that Allie Luber, James Kennedy's ex, had a crush on Craig, but I guess that didn't go anywhere and allegedly hooked up with Austin a few times. And then we're seeing Sally, like, in the clip, wanting to get together with Craig, and I think they probably hook up. But then I guess that doesn't work out and she defaults to Austin because we see him kissing her. And I'm hoping that his girlfriend, either they were broken up at that time, which they may have been because I heard they broke up like mid to late season. But the way they edited it, it looked like his girlfriend was there and then he was making out with Sally, which probably isn't the case.
Yeah,
but
it's probably not. But I have good news for everybody who did not look this up. Like, I immediately ran to do the season premiere. We only have to wait like 6 weeks because it's on November 19th.
Cozy full.
Well, this is how much this is how much I think my mom used to say, do what you love and happiness will follow. And I'm like, I love television and I love talking about it. So, and I love all the new stuff coming out. So
I love telling my kids, guys, I'm working. And it's so funny because they look at me like, no, you're not. This isn't your real job. I'm like, it is now. I made it my real job.
It is. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk Miami really quickly because I gotta say, like, the last few weeks have been a real good time to be a cocktailer because the cocktailers knew what the Miami bombshell was. And those of you guys who are not in our membership but listened to the podcast last week also know. And we saw this happen, that Julia revealed that she slept with Adriana. And yes, of course, we were correct. So we haven't gotten the next part, the reunion, yet. It looks a little bit like Adriana walks off or denies it, or at least denies holding it over Julia's head.
Even though we knew it was coming, it was still like shock. Like, we hear things and then like when you see them, you're like, damn, wow.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen the second episode yet. And I'm not clear on Adriana's denial. But if we think back to them when we first met Julia, because we already knew Adriana if we watched OG Miami, which we did, they had that whole friend engagement and they were very flirty, petty. And I mean, touchy, not like petty, like pet.
No, they'd kiss.
Petting the bodies,
Yeah.
the kissy, this. And like, I think that, I don't know, you and I are kind of naive. Tracy would be on here like, they were fucking. But I don't know. I assumed that Julia and Martina are married and Adriana's friends with them. They shared a bed in the Hamptons. Like, it's totally a possibility. And they always, when Julia first came on, they always talked about how Julia, like, quote unquote, cheated. And I think Julia even was like, oh no, I'm allowed to make out with men when I'm out having fun, which definitely odd, right? But we know that, well, at least to those of us who don't have open marriages. But again, I kind of chalked it up to like, well, Martina's fine with it. And maybe Martina's fine with her having sex with Adriana. I don't know. I don't think Adriana's going to flat out deny it. Maybe she'll deny like sleeping with her, but like say they made out, like fooled around. Or maybe she'll just admit it and deny that she held it over her head. Do I think that she held it over her head? Yeah. They're showing clips of her going, do you want me to say it and blow up your spot? And like, I think, and a lot of cocktailers felt this way. Regardless, I mean, obviously Julia's outing her own affair, but Adriana didn't ask to be outed, as she has always identified publicly as a straight woman. And I never think it's okay to out somebody. It's something that we don't condone.
And I think sometimes, I also think that one choice does not make somebody not straight. I think I have no idea. And I don't really care, honestly, what Adriana's sexuality is. And like you said, knowing it was coming was one thing, but a big part of me was very surprised that it did come out the way that it did, because coming from Julia, I feel like it was extra shocking that a bisexual, I guess, is that what Julia is? I don't know.
I don't know how she identifies right now, but she has been married to men and now is married to a woman. So I would say so.
That somebody in, we'll call it the LGBTQ community, would out another woman like that. And then saying like, let me bring some clarity. I'm like, my jaw really did drop again, even though we all knew that it was coming.
It's not my kind of clarity.
Yeah. And I had just imagined like it was something that like slipped out, or that Julia was upset and crying and it kind of came out, or that one of the other women was like, oh, tell them, Julia, tell them, and it was not like that. You could tell she was just waiting for her moment to bring it up, which I've increasingly disliked Julia this season. And I think she really crossed the line of no return for me. Something about the fall and the chillier weather makes me want to stay home, cook more, and bake banana bread. Anybody with me on that? And this fall, now that we have caraway products, it makes it that much easier to clean up. And I feel so good about using them knowing that they are non-toxic. Did you know that over 70% of cooking and baking pans sold in the US are coated with PTFE? Scary. Personally, I don't want that stuff touching my family's food. This fall, quit cooking and baking with toxins. Caraway's cookware set is a favorite for a reason. It can save you up to $190 versus buying the items individually. Plus, if you visit carawayhome.com/gossip, you can take an additional 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for cocktailers, so visit carawayhome.com/gossip or use code GOSSIP at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern.
Moving on to other folks at the reunion, we have Guerdy refusing to accept an apology from Alexia. Or like Andy straight out said to her, and I was a little bit surprised because Andy was like, well, we're not going to make any resolution. Okay, moving on, which to me is not a good sign for Guerdy. I was a little surprised that Andy was being as nice to Julia as he was, because I understand that Martina made the comment on Twitter that surrogacy shouldn't be allowed and whatever she said, which was basically that she is anti-surrogacy. And first of all, Lisa Hochstein had 2 children via surrogacy.
Right.
And so did Andy. I think Lisa kind of let her off the hook too easily, or at least that's how it looked at the reunion. I understand it wasn't Julia, but I'm just surprised that Andy didn't hold it against Julia more. So I don't know where Julia stands. I think that the fans don't like her. So I think we can assume she wouldn't be back. But the fans do like Guerdy, and the fans, largely the comments I saw were them being like, wow, this is a weird edit, but on a reality show. And I like Guerdy. If you're not friends with any of the women and you're refusing to, the reunion is the time, no matter what transpires, and we have seen some wild stuff, you have to at least agree to accept the apology and see where it goes from there. Even the most contentious situations, we have seen that.
Yeah.
I think of Jersey as the last time, and they haven't picked up cameras yet, which we'll get to that too, guys. But yeah, essentially, I guess what I'm saying is, how does Guerdy return if she's not friends with any of the women?
She's definitely looking like an island.
Yeah.
Especially coming out of this reunion. I completely agree. And I think it was probably not the best of choices for her if she wants to, assuming she wants to stay on the show. And then who knows? She should have said, okay. And
I think she wants to stay on the show. These women get big checks, and she hasn't mentioned her wedding planning business, which may have been in hiatus. She was battling cancer. I mean, it's not easy to do a job like that with treatments and everything.
Yeah. Let's hope Dr. Nicole's going to come back, and then Guerdy will have a more cemented spot. You mentioned that you have some tea on Next Gen on the show, on the, I guess we'll call it the franchise now.
I think we're going to have to call it that because we know. Okay, so let me tell you what I'm hearing. Hot off the presses. Haven't even posted about this yet. New season of Next Gen NYC is picking up this week or next week. New city coming 2026. I'm assuming that's LA because that's what we've heard about.
Right. Okay, so who's coming back? We're hearing, so at least as of now, Charlie Zakor is not on the BravoCon list. But I don't know that necessarily means that he's not coming back, because I get the feeling he would still say no.
How Johnny Lions of him.
Just like, can you imagine that he like would want to go and interact with fans like that? he doesn't seem the type to me.
I can't see him like pulling a Kyle and having merch to hand out. He'd be like, oh, these fucking people are all waiting for me.
Exactly.
I was told he was coming back, but I'm not. I was told that a while ago. Things, as we know, change. I also heard that we don't know if Riley is coming back because apparently she asked for a lot of money. I don't know. I don't doubt that she asked for a lot of money. Her mother is a businesswoman.
As she should. It is the most popular show premiere season on Bravo ever, right?
100%. And I think she's smart to ask for a lot of money and to negotiate. But I don't think that necessarily means she decides to walk if she doesn't get that number. Unless, listen, there's so many different things to think about when it comes to Riley. So first of all, Riley is wealthy. It's her mother who has the wealth, but Riley is wealthy. So she went to college in New York City and then she stayed. Her family is in Atlanta. So it could be a situation where maybe she doesn't want to stay in New York. So she put the high number out there, and if she didn't get it, she's planning to go to Atlanta. I actually think if Riley is Candy's daughter, she's smart to play the long game, which is be the face of Next Gen Atlanta, which you know at some point is going to come. Maybe not immediately, but I think it'll be sooner if she gets there. Atlanta is a very popular city. There are so many famous musicians, hip-hop artists, singers. So many like Hollywood types live in Atlanta.
Right.
So many of their children are friends with Riley. So how incredible, like I'm just picturing she's friends with Rashida, who's got a lot of drama, her kids. Her son was the one who may or may not have shot somebody. Rashida and Candy are best friends. She's just the first person that comes to mind. But like Usher, like I don't even know how old Usher's kids are. They're probably not even old enough. I don't know. You name it. They live in Atlanta. So I'm thinking, and guys, this is not intel. This is just me thinking if I were somebody who could turn down a smaller check, wanted to live in Atlanta and not like because, if you commit to this show, look how long Atlanta's on. So there is a thing where she could be like, Mom, if I commit to, right, because she's making the decision as a unit. Like, Mom, if I commit to this, I have to stay in New York at least part of the year because we all know she could, be based there half the year or whatever. And if this show goes on 10, 15 years, she's based in New York. So let's say she gave a big number, she didn't get it, and she says to them, I'm headed back to Atlanta, so I'm going to pass, but hit me up when you're ready to do Next Gen Atlanta. I totally could see that being a thing.
That would make sense. I would like to see her on New York City just because I enjoyed watching her, and I'm guessing Atlanta wouldn't be happening right away because, as I mentioned, we think that LA is going to be next. And that makes sense too. I mean, there's a huge pool in LA to choose from, like Nepo babies, Bravo Nepo babies.
I would go LA next, and I literally just thought of this, like when I had heard that she wasn't coming back, as I was talking, I thought of this, but New York and then LA. And honestly, the next city I would think to do would be Atlanta. We don't have I'm sure, not that I know anything about a young scene, never mind an Atlanta young scene, but I have to imagine there's a very cool young Atlanta scene.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine too.
There's a lot of colleges there. You know what I mean? Like it's just a hip, cool, I sound like a grandma, hip. It's like a hip, cool area. I'm sure there's like tons of interesting young people in their 20s doing the damn thing and influencers and Nepo babies and all the stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we know anything about when LA might be on our television screens?
2026 is so vague.
Are they filming that?
I don't believe it's on the calendar for Bravo to film in 2025 at all. So I don't know exactly if that's like January production and then we get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mid-year. I really don't know. I think with the success, I think it'll definitely be a quicker turnaround than it was because they took a long time to roll that out. One other thing before we move on to like Next Gen LA and discussing who we want on it. Ariana Bierman shared on Instagram. She was doing one of those videos that like the young girls do where they do their makeup and chat.
Right.
And she was like adding freckles to her face, which we've seen like Paige and people do it. And she was like, I had freckles and I loved them. And do you know what the irony is? Now I have to add them. And because when I was 14, my mom sent me for a facial. And when I left, my friends were like, Ariana, what happened to your freckles? And I called the lady and she was like, yeah, your mom told me to laser them off. 14.
That's awful.
That's child abuse.
Now that you say that, I do remember her with freckles.
Yes, in all the flashbacks.
Wow.
I know.
I mean, without consent, that is just wow. Wow.
And it's not like, listen, honestly, and as moms, if you're a mom, I'm sure, or if when you were a kid, I'm sure there were situations where I was a kid where there were things I wanted to change and my mom would say to me, and when you're an adult, you can make those decisions, right? Or you want a tattoo or whatever it is, right? You want a nose job, you want big boobs. But at 14 years old, even if she went to her lab and she was like, I hate my freckles, I would be like, absolutely not. When you're older, if you want to laser them off, you can do that. But you're 14. Just off the strength of who knows what these lasers do. 14, like hair removal as an example. I don't think that I would do hair removal on my daughter until she was like 18 or 20 because I would just be worried about I don't know what effects this can have.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's any better at 18 or 20. I'm just saying it would be her choice then. But I would be like, no, you could shave your armpits. I did it. You could do it.
Well, and you got to be careful too, because had we had the technology back in the 90s for lasering and all of that, I mean, there would be a lot more people walking around with no eyebrows because that was the
oh my God, I'd be one of them. And I have to go get them. I do like nano or whatever, the filled in, and I have to pencil them. Yeah, thank God for Anastasia. By the way, total side note, I was so excited when Anastasia was with Stephanie Shoma. She has the best eyebrow pencils in the world. I already use Anastasia.
I agree. I gotta say though too, like my mom wouldn't even let me get a perm, and everybody.
Oh my God! So my mother wouldn't, and I never dyed. My mother never let me dye my hair, and I didn't dye it until I was like in my early 18, 19, like college. And I actually hated it and then stopped dyeing it until, gray started coming in my 30s. But I finally convinced my mom to get a perm when I was in the 8th grade. She was like, fine, I don't care, B, just get it. She took me. I looked like a chia pet and I hated it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the thing and the reason she always gave is like, you're going to have to grow it out at some point, and that is just a mess. And it's true.
Yes.
There were a lot of women, well, girls, we'll say girls, walking around who were trying to get their perms out with straight hair on top.
I was one of them.
Hair on the bottom.
Thankfully, my hair is so straight that I feel like it was fine. And some people, I know friends of mine that got the perm and it forever changed the texture of their hair. I didn't have that, but
yeah, not everything was perfect about the 90s, guys.
No,
I know there's a lot of nostalgia about it these days, but not everything was perfect.
We were looking like chia pets. Another thing Stephanie said was, I think she said she got a nose job at 16. Her mother took her, and she's like, and I appreciated that because that would be a tricky one for me and I've never had plastic surgery yet. I will, don't worry. I do Botox. But if I had a very noticeable big bump on my nose, at 16...
Yeah.
I don't know if I equate that the same way. And I mean a really I'm sure you guys scroll plastic surgery Instagrams and whatever. I see people where it's okay, I don't know. I've never been in this situation, but I don't know if I judge that the same way. I might be okay, wait till you're 18. But I don't think it's the same as lasering off a 14-year-old's freckles.
Well, without their knowledge or consent. I think those two things are very different. And I think the plastic surgery thing, I think in my situation, I would want to just make sure the growth is done. And because kids' faces change or that they're done with our braces and all of that. It's my braces really changed the way that I looked, my whole face. So anyway,
Or what about kids when they're little and their ears stick out and then they grow into them?
Yeah. I mean,
what if everyone's oh, let's pin them?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that everyone, to each their own, especially if the child is giving consent or the 16-year-old or 18-year-old, that's a different situation than let me just send you for a facial and you're going to come back without freckles, but I didn't tell you.
That's wild.
Awful. Yes.
Somebody was I wonder if they'll charge Kim with child abuse. I was I think the statute of limitations is gone. And imagine the document on that. The state of Georgia is charging Kim Bierman with child abuse for removing her daughter's freckles.
Okay, so should we chat at Orange County?
I think we should.
Okay, so I know
another exclusive.
Yeah, we got some confirmation. You guys, we've been talking about how Gretchen and Heather Dubrow have a pretty big fight and that they've had a fallout because of that fight. We thought we kind of knew what it was, and we just got this confirmation from a reliable source.
So what they shared with us was that the Heather Gretchen fight that we haven't seen yet, but happened apparently in Amsterdam, is there's a transphobic Instagram post that Gretchen liked. The post was something about trans people being a gateway to pedophilia. This source says Gretchen is going to deny that she liked the posts. I think she even tries to go back and delete the likes. But production and/or Tamara already had screenshots. This is what the source said. Now you'll notice, and I actually did see this week, Gretchen's posting stories about being an ally to the LGBTQ community. The source said that
LGB?
Yeah. She posted something about her friend who had, I don't know, something happened to him and he was a gay man, I think. So yeah, right, the T. The source says they even heard that Gretchen might hire a private investigator to prove it wasn't her and that she was hacked. Okay. This is before she was on the show that she liked this tweet. No one's hacking her. And after the way that PR guy who says he's her friend, and although he is a PR guy, he's not working for her in that capacity, but was actually working for free in that capacity. Listen, she's been off the show a long time. And over that time, she's been on social media, liking different things. And I just think that she never figured she'd come back on the show. I think that women who used to be on the show aren't hip to it, which is probably why Slade didn't come, because he knows that they're going to say, like, Insta account Bravo and Cocktails or Insta account whoever wants to know Slade. They saw this Slade, like, they saw this Gretchen. Like, people pull receipts nowadays, okay? And you could say you got hacked, but it's not 2010, Gretchen. You didn't get hacked. We know you didn't get hacked.
Definitely not a good look either if you're saying that you got hacked and you have a lot of your livelihood comes through social media. Like,
I don't want to give you my credit card info.
Well, definitely not.
I think that in these cases, it's always stupid to lie. I think the thing to do is own it, apologize, say that you were wrong and you're getting educated and you're in therapy, all the things people say. To just lie. How many times can we catch her in lies this season? It's absurd.
She had me. I believed her at the beginning of the season. I was like, wow, I don't think she has any. Why wouldn't she have said anything before now? And all of the, like, she really did have me. I think she is a one season return and done. I think she can go. I think Slade,
she can leave.
She can leave. Slade really gives me the willies, like, not in a good way.
Can I ask you what she sees in him? Because I loved when, by the way, Heather and Emily asked her at that sleepover, like, why didn't you marry Slade? It's for financial reasons, right? What does she see in him? Because she literally can't be legally married to him because of his debts, and she doesn't want to be tied to him. A source told me that when her fiance Jeff died, she came into a lot of money, and that is her home that she purchased, okay? Now, I imagine she invested that money. I don't know how much. What's a lot of money? Was it 1 million all these years later? Was it 15 million? I don't know. But those are the reasons she hasn't married him. So what does she see in him? Is it his gorgeous looks?
I mean, maybe, I don't know. Like, there's something really weird about his energy that I feel, and I don't like it. And I don't believe that he is day in and day out the man who prays with his family for Gretchen to have a good trip. Like, I don't know. Maybe he has something on her. I don't know. I don't.
So she stays in a relationship with him? I mean, now they have a child together, but they were together for many years before he reversed his vasectomy and had that child with her.
I've heard Heather McDonald say that he used to carry around like a really nice camera to events and that he took really good pictures. So maybe that's why she stays with him.
He has a good filter. She loves a good filter.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't see it. I hope that, I mean, there's got to be something, right? There's got to be a lot of redeeming qualities. We were actually talking about this on Discord with the cocktailers because somebody was like, why doesn't he just say, I'm a stay-at-home dad and I help support Gretchen with her business? It's all of the just like scattering and the trying to like look really good. It falls really flat to me. And I don't like it when people, I think, falsely hide behind the we're really religious kind of curtain, but then they do really awful things, you know, like, and
right.
Which I think Slade which I think Slade has. Okay, so also some disturbing tea just came out about Real Housewives of Rhode Island. We posted about this in Cocktail Party a little while ago, and then a few days later, it was actually made public that one of the housewives, her name is Rula, I think, Rulla, will be who we're hearing is going to be, one of the big breakout stars of the show, that her husband was arrested for domestic violence.
I hate this because, the good news is I don't believe it was physical violence.
Yeah.
Because I talk about shivers. Like, I always get shivers when I hear domestic violence. And if you guys notice, I sometimes will write DV, but I mostly write like something.
Yeah.
So the initial tea that we got, I say I hate it, obviously, because it's domestic violence, but I also hate the cloud it puts over a show that we're all really excited about.
Yeah.
The initial tea we got was a husband from Rhode Island. Rula's husband was arrested for domestic violence on October 3rd. He was processed, arraigned, and released pending a future date. Nobody knew about this. It was somebody who works there. And they sent it over to us. So, of course, these things become public, and we got more clarity. We learned that Brian Pontarelli, and this is public information, is accused of placing an electronic tracking device in or on a car without consent, which is a misdemeanor domestic violence offense. He's a podiatrist in Providence. So apparently his wife, Rula, who's going to be a housewife, there are court documents showing that she filed a no-contact order against him on Friday. That's last Friday. Mm-hmm. A source familiar with filming confirmed that they're involved, but they obviously don't know if she's full-time or not. Since we have an email saying she's the star, we assume she is. I think she is. I think we know that. I don't like this. And the really funny thing is, before this became public, a cocktailer, I mean, I swear to God, you guys know so much and you're geniuses, but you reached out and you were like, I really hope that it's that he put a tracking device on her car because that's considered domestic violence. I don't know if it's in all states, but in most states. And a lot of times these situations end up being that. And then when I read the news article, I'm like, did this person know this, or are they just so smart? Like, I didn't know that was such a common domestic violence.
Yeah, I didn't know that
infraction. Either. Right. I mean, listen, it is domestic violence. Like, putting something like tracking your person without their consent and knowledge, here we go with consent and knowledge, is wrong, but I wasn't aware.
Yeah, I mean, I do see it differently. I mean, they're both terrible, but I do see it differently than actual physical harm.
Yes.
So I guess we'll see what happens, because it does seem like people have been coming out and saying, like, he's my podiatrist.
Yeah, some of you guys, actually.
Yeah. But I was doing a little more reading on this, and I actually found that there's another of these housewives, the Rhode Island housewives, in the news. Her name is Monique Pass, and she is the wife of former NFL star Patrick Pass. She's been announced to be on the show, but then I guess in September, and it's unclear whether this is this last September or September of 2024, that her husband allegedly assaulted an elderly man, like an 82-year-old man, at the gym at a Planet Fitness.
Talk about roid rage.
I would love to know what an 82-year-old man could do to anybody to make them. That's not.
He didn't get off the weight machine quick enough, Amanda.
So that's all I could find from this story, but
that's disgusting.
I'm definitely going to be following this for you guys, because there's clearly more to this story, and I want to know more about it.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
No. Speaking of crimes and criminals, Potomac.
No shortage.
Seriously, Potomac started, and we see Karen getting out of jail. We see the barbed wire. We see her kind of sniffing and saying, are there tissues in here? And then it goes back to when they picked up cameras 2 days after the sentencing. Giselle has all of the ladies over to discuss them.
Yeah, so I guess this was not that long after the reunion. And because then we see after this scene, we see 2 months later or 3 months later, it was official filming. So they just did a scene at Giselle's house. I loved watching her whip out Erin and Abe's mescalum. And when she needed some, she's like, I'm going to need some liquor today. And it was almost finished. We love a crossover.
Guys, if you remember the day of the sentencing, And then even the announcement that, that she was about to get out of jail. I mean, the day of the sentencing, that was absolutely shocking. So going to that place with the women and seeing them all react to this, I think it's really juicy. And then we do see like Giselle saying like, I want my Karen back. And of course she throws shade by saying like, no, do I want her in jail? No. But do I want to see her get another DUI? Also no. Of course she's going to be shady, not miss an opportunity to be a little bit shady, especially about Karen.
Yeah. 100%. She tells Ashley she hopes she's in the elderly section. On the one hand, I get it. I think she was trying to be like, yeah, well, then nobody will bother her.
Right.
But like, how would Giselle feel if somebody put her in an elderly section?
I mean, I would want to be in the elderly. If I had to go to prison, I want to be in the elderly section.
I guess so. I mean, right off the bat, they bring up TJ being paid to be her love interest. You guys knew this, shared it in case anybody missed it, but we all knew it. The argument with Stacey, because the arguments don't stop with Stacey because she doesn't own anything. And she acts like they're on a soap opera and it's a script. The paying of TJ is true. It's facts. She returned all her confessional dresses with a funky odor.
Oh.
The ladies are and there's no record of her divorcing her husband.
So she even says, a totally shady way when they're shopping, or during her confessional, like, I mean, I guess it did take Ashley 10 years to get divorced, and it didn't take me nearly that long.
Right. Like, she is not only a liar, but she's a bad, stupid liar, because why did you come out and say it was finalized, but you're back together if, in fact, you were always together? And you guys knew. We posted as soon as cameras went up that Stacey was back with her husband. So while a lot of people were shocked at this, cocktailers were not, because I can't really get on board with Stacey. And she's so gorgeous, but I just can't.
She is really beautiful. But let me just say, I really hope that this Stacey thing doesn't become the focus of the whole season. Couple things. One is I'm already real annoyed with Stacey because, like you said, she's not owning anything. But I also feel like it's a little bit, if you guys remember, Giselle had Jason from Winter House as her quote unquote boyfriend on the show. And did we believe that was a real relationship? No. Did she pay him to be on the show? Probably not. But don't mistake this for anything but a very transactional situation. I'm sure.
Jason was very thirsty to be in the Bravo world and a reality star and on Summer House and all those things. So it wasn't a monetary payment, but it was exposure and helped him get brand deals. And, in his mind would help him get on another show on Bravo.
Yeah, it feels really hypocritical coming from Giselle and a little bit Ashley too, because, she's had people that she was dating, and then she went on the Love Hotel, and I don't know.
Those are all points. We actually, a cocktail pointed that out, and I posted it. So I didn't like when Stacey went in on Kay, because Kay was just looking for clarification like the other ladies, and she was like, I've been on TV, because Kay was like, well, you've been trying to get on the show, so is it that you thought this would get you on the show? And she's like, I know it's a sensitive topic because you've been trying to get, Stacey says to Kay, you've been trying to get on it, but I've been on TV. Honey, you sold on QVC. You're not exactly like an international star. I don't know. I get your points, but she's gorgeous. There's just something very fraudulent about her. Even when she was out to eat with the husband, it just all felt weird.
I agree. I think all of it seems very like she's been just putting up and like just manufacturing everything. And then
there's the actress who said the lawsuit, and our boy over Bravo OMG said the actress's name. Hold on, I got to go to his account because it wasn't an actress that I immediately knew.
The name sounded familiar when I read it, but I don't remember it off the top of my head either.
Yeah, it's not like... The actress is Nola Hampton from Shameless and Found.
Yeah.
Beautiful girl. Recognize her, but not a name I know, like, off the bat.
Right. But she apparently had receipts that TJ is suing her and that Ashley and Giselle saw it.
Yeah, I believe it. But the other thing is that she's a stupid liar because she said, oh no, TJ and I are fine. He's remorseful. Girl, if you know you're being sued, what you should have said was, unfortunately, it isn't true, but TJ it just filed a lawsuit. And as we know, anybody can sue anybody for anything, but there's no truth to it. And him and I are not speaking as a result. For her to say that he's remorseful and that they're okay now, and then the next time she sees Ashley at the drugstore, Ashley's like, well, that's not true what you told us. Like another lie because he's suing you. And she never denied it either. She's like, well, I'm moving on from that.
Right. And she's like, okay, like we should all be moving on, which is ridiculous. Like you said, we as cocktailers, we've learned nothing if we haven't learned that you really can sue anybody for anything. But so I did some searching. So this has been really interesting to me. I did some searching for the divorce. I did the papers. I did some searching for a lawsuit. Again, I am no law genius. I do know how to search for these things. I think it's possible that the legal documents that we're seeing could have been more of a demand letter kind of situation. So like a letter from TJ's lawyer to Stacey's lawyer demanding that he can. And that if she doesn't, then he'll sue her. I don't know. Cocktailers, especially Bravo fans as well, we're not stupid. We saw with our own eyes that something just was not right with that situation the entire time. Like the chemistry between them was so non-existent.
I will say this. The reason that I believe she was still with the husband and maybe he just didn't want to film is because they made such a point every freaking episode to talk about how they weren't having sex.
Things were screwing, yeah.
Now, if there was a situation where that was really true, like they were two people who wanted to get to know each other and wanted to have a solid foundation or wanted her divorce to be final before they did that, which is certainly a choice that a couple may make. Not a couple I've ever met, but it's certainly a choice. They wouldn't need to mention it every scene. It was like her husband was like, and you better make sure people don't think that you guys are having sex.
Yeah.
And the husband is a snooze, so it's no wonder she didn't want to bring him on. I honestly think she thinks this is a soap opera. She thinks of herself as an actress. She said to her husband, you know what? You don't have to go on. I know you don't love cameras. I'll say that we're split. I won't bring TJ around our daughter, Arabella, but I'll just have him on the show. It'll just be like she thought of it like an acting gig. And TJ's an actor, so he'll be very charismatic and entertaining. Like, I really think that's how she thought of it.
Acting the whole
Which is different than Giselle and the Jason thing. Because with the Giselle and Jason thing, I do think they had a hookup fling. Like, I don't think that they never hooked up.
Yeah.
I think they hooked up. I think that she wasn't interested in, like, being wifey to him because he's, like, 30 years old and doesn't have any money. But she fooled around with him and she was like, yeah, come on the show. It'll be fun. And then they kind of kept it going because it was clicks for both of them and all that stuff. But it's not the same as being married and hiring somebody.
I'm not having it. I am over Stacey.
Yes.
You know, I feel like it's interesting because there's often so much talk about how ex-housewife or Z housewife should be fired. And what's so weird to me about this is I feel like Giselle had been on to her and Ashley too. Everyone knew she was a fraud. We saw it. The cast saw it. Production must have seen it. Like, why is she being forced on us? Like, I want to move on.
Yeah.
Like, in life from her. Yeah. I did, like, by the way, I think Kiarna looks more beautiful than she's ever looked. And then you get to see her condo and her mom.
And her mom is so beautiful, too. When her mom was walking into her room for a second, I thought it was Kay.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, that's her mom. Like, I want to age like that. I want people to confuse me for my daughter's twin.
Well, that's why we're gonna get a cute little facelift.
Mm-hmm. Have to.
We hear about how she broke up with Greg. She even says like he showed his ass on national television, and she says that she moved out. But yes, after she was living on her own, he calls after a few months and says, "Hey, do you want to go to Jamaica and talk?" And as of that time on the show, it seems that they are back to at least dating.
I'm never going to understand why these beautiful, smart, accomplished women date these losers. The fact that her mom and her family doesn't support the relationship makes me feel like Greg is the asshole we all saw. Speaking of Adal, I have to tell you, Wendy gets on my nerves, and she got on my nerves this episode, acting like she's better than Kay, which she definitely was doing. Kay was not imagining it. But I love watching her and Eddie at home. I love seeing their partnership. I don't think we see enough of that where they're a team and they're like building success together.
Yeah.
They're not living above, they have a beautiful home, but you don't get the sense that they're living above their means, that they're trying to show off monetarily. Eddie is one of the top house husbands. He's awesome. I think, honestly, he saves Wendy in many ways because when she's with the women, I don't know if it's her intention, but she does come off condescending. And when
especially not this last season, but the season before, she was in trouble. I mean, she had no friends. She was definitely an island and definitely came off condescending. Not so much in the most recent season, but we saw glimpses of it again during this episode, just like you said.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Why she gets like, it's almost like
it's insecurity.
Yeah.
And her being worried someone's going to come try to take her spot.
I think so.
Well, I'm a big fan of Eddie as well. It's nice. It is really nice to see a partnership modeled like that. And it's good to see that his cannabis company is successful and that you hear a lot about people, starting businesses and, that are, it's hard. It's really hard.
Especially for the bonus.
Yeah. And what's really funny is Stacey denied that she was starting her own cannabis company during the reunion, but of course she is and came out and she did it. And I gotta say, I was watching this and I'm like, I'm not gonna be buying her product. It's probably not even cannabis. It's probably like oregano.
I mean, that's what the first thing I thought too. I'm like, first of all, she doesn't even look like she's ever smoked a joint in her life. Never mind have her own cannabis. The woman's a beautiful mess. A beautiful mess. That's what I know.
But yeah, make this make sense.
Yes.
Why cannabis? It makes none.
And there's so much to talk about with Potomac, and we have all season. But Ashley got $20 million. We hear.
Is that really what we're hearing? I read some articles because I was like, who knew that Michael was that wealthy? And then the articles are like, well, we're not so sure. 20 million was kind of referring to Michael's overall wealth.
Oh, okay. That kind of makes more sense.
But even if she got a quarter of that, that's going to put her in a really good situation because then she's got to be making at least $500,000-$600,000 a season.
Good for her.
For Housewives. So, yeah, I agree.
And she's got those 2 little boys, so she probably got that, and he's got to pay a nice amount every month. Very Sutton of her. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We met Angel, longtime friend of Kay's. I really love that not only is Kay full-time, but they also brought her friend on. It's like she's moving up. And guys, we had this in an email. We had the newer girls. We had both Kay and Angel mentioned. Seems cool. I like her husband. He's cute. I will say their business being based in Colorado immediately was like, okay, so they moved here for the show. They're probably renting. And when I went back, we did have an email saying one of the new women doesn't actually live in Potomac, but she has connections and used to. So whatever. I don't even necessarily think it's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Like, especially because he's retired and they may be considering moving back and like maybe they live between both because they have a business in Colorado. Like, I'm okay with that.
As long as she has legit ties to the cast and that this isn't just we're just, going to try to figure this out sort of situation and, drop her in having not met anybody because that generally doesn't work very well. So I'm with you.
I know that we didn't get to... We're not going to be able to get to everything with Salt Lake City, but I just want to say Muzzy is a bitch.
Muzzy needs a muzzle.
Fuck Muzzy.
I mean,
we'll get into it on the cocktail pod, and I'm sure we'll get into it next week or the weeks to come. But if I were Bronwyn, I'd be kicking Muzzy out of my motherfucking house. Get out, Muzzy, motherfucker.
Honestly, it is actually kind of shocking to me. And it makes you better understand why Todd in the last episode or the one before that, they had that weird dinner where they were both drinking like Dr. Pepper and he's like stirring his iced tea or whatever. And you could just tell he was sort of holding back, but I couldn't tell why. I was like, is he just really uncomfortable being on camera again? And I didn't want to talk bad about her. He didn't want to talk bad about her. Yeah.
And now we know why he wasn't comfortable financially supporting them. It's because they weren't kind to Bronwyn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that Todd doesn't translate well on camera, but I do think that he must be sweet with Bronwyn off camera. I really hope he is because she needs that. Because he had a lot of softness in her life.
Yeah. I believe he really does love her.
Yes.
I do.
So, but that doesn't always translate to somebody being soft and kind.
And sweet. That's true. That's true.
But we'll get into all the Salt Lake City of it because, well, cocktailers know we have some scoop on that. Mm-hmm. We love you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
What's up, cocktailers? We want to thank you, as always, for listening to Cocktails and Gossip. Because of you, we've hit some amazing milestones, had some hilarious conversations, and have grown a truly amazing community. If you haven't already followed our podcast, hit the follow button in the top right of your Apple Podcast player, the follow button under the show logo on Spotify, or the subscribe button on Google Podcasts. We thrive on you, our audience. So make sure to tell all your gossip-loving friends about us too. And if you want to get all the tea, join our membership cocktail party by going to bravoandcocktails.com/join. Our members get access to the exclusive tea we post, the weekly podcast without ads, plus another additional bonus podcast every week. And of course, members also get to join us on our monthly live cocktail party Zoom, where we talk about the latest tea and even share tea that's just too hot to put in writing. Last, but maybe best, our members get access to the Cocktail Party Discord, where you can chat with Amanda, me, and all of the other cocktailers as well. There are always some great combos and hilarious comments happening in Discord. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.